മിസ്സേ ആ പിന്നെ മറ്റേ ആളുടെ കിട്ടിയോ? രണ്ടാമത്തെ ആളുടെ ബയോഡേറ്റ കിട്ടിയോ?
രണ്ടാമത്തെ ആളുടെ നമുക്ക് കിട്ടി.
എന്തോ
മറ്റേ സാറിന്
കേട്ടില്ല മിസ്സേ. മിസ് എന്താ പറഞ്ഞേ?
അല്ലേ നമ്മുടെ ജയിപ്പിക്കണ്ടേ? മഞ്ജു
മഞ്ജുനാഥ് സാറിന്റെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ട്, എന്തെങ്കിലും ബയോഡേറ്റ ഉണ്ട്, അത് ഞാൻ വായിച്ചോളാം.
Hello, sir.
Hello, madam. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I will just share the PPT now. Just let us see one.
Okay.
Is that visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we'll start at 6 o'clock. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
We will give a short introduction. After that, we can start.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Are you in the office itself?
No. Just now I came to home.
Okay.
Fine.
You and Manoj sir are friends, isn't it?
Yeah, Dr. Manoj sir and me are colleagues actually in NETE. Yeah. He has given my details to you, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, sir. He is a supporter. He given me that plan also, program plan, and he's a Wayanad person. That way, he supporting us to improve our course, sir.
Yeah. We were colleagues around 20 years back.
Oh, yes. Anyway,
then he went to Ethiopia. Yeah.
Yes.
Sir joined today? No, I guess.
I don't know whether he will join it because this special participants I can't identify who are all the.
Yeah, correct. There are many there.
Yeah, more than 150 all the time.
Correct.
Yeah, we can wait, sir.
Okay.
Shibli Miss, can we start?
Can we start, madam? Is it how many participants
Shibli
now?
Miss,
Yeah, we have now. Okay, shall we start now? Okay, welcome participants to the fourth day of our ATAL FDP on cybersecurity bootcamp, protecting systems and networks. Today we have other faculty member, Dr. Manchunath Kothari, Professor and Head, Alva Institute of Engineering and Technology, Modividri, Karnataka. I welcome you, sir, and we will have a small profile that I will invite my co-coordinator, Danya Raj, for the introduction.
good evening all. Good evening, sir. Today is the fourth day of our FDP. In this session, we have Dr. Manjunath Kothari as our resource person to talk about APT, MITRE attack, and phishing. Let me introduce sir to you. Dr. Manjunath Kothari is professor and head of the department in Alva's Institute of Engineering and Technology, AIET, Mudri, uh, Mudbidri, Mangalore. Sir did his Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Science from RV College of Engineering, Bangalore, and MTech from NMAM Institute of Technology, Nitte. Dr. Kothari obtained his PhD from VTU, Belagavi, in the area of distributed systems and network security. Sir has served 12 years in various capacities at NMAM Institute of Technology, Nitte, and after that, for the last 13 years, Sir is working as professor and head in the department of AIET, Mangalore. Dr. Kothari has served as a member of various academic bodies like Board of Studies, BOE of VTU, and is also a member of professional bodies like IEEE, CSI, ISTE, IAENG, and ISTD. Dr. Manjunath Kothari has co-authored two technical books titled CAD for VLSI and VLSI CAD, published by PHI Learning Private Limited, New Delhi. Also, he has authored a textbook titled C Programming for KTU and has compiled several course materials for Sikkim Manipal University. And Sir is a regular reviewer for Scopus indexed journals like Elsevier Publications, SN, Springer, Applied Science Journal, Interscience Publications, Engineering Science, Journal of Engineering Science and Technology, IGI Global Publications, and other international journals and conferences. Sir is a research supervisor at AET VTU Research Center and currently guiding 5 research scholars. Dr. Kothari has published 2 patents, 2 book chapters in Springer, and 10 SEA indexed journal articles, along with the 35 papers in UGC recognized journals and conferences. Sir's area of interest are network security, computer architecture, and VLSI CAD. Overall, Sir has over 25 years of teaching experience. We are very glad to invite you to this FDP, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, madam, for the nice introduction. Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank Government Engineering College, Wayanad, for providing me an opportunity to deliver a talk on this particular ATAL FDP on the 2 different sessions. I would like to thank the organizers, HOD and faculty members for providing me this particular opportunity to serve as a resource person in this particular ATAL FDP. Now I would like to start with my session. I hope the slides are movable, right? Moving from first slide to second slide. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The slides are moving, right? Like just a
No, sir.
no 1, 2, like a second slide not moving.
No.
Okay, just a minute. I think
Now change, sir.
change it. Okay,
Now
fine.
what is
Okay, fine. Then I will go back to the. No, if I make a full screen, I think it is not movable. Now I made the full screen. Is it visible now? First slide.
now it is first slide.
Okay, second, moving,
No.
not moving. Third,
No, the first slide itself we are seeing.
okay, I think we have to change the entire screen. I will make entire screen change. So that's okay. Now, is it moving right now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The APT, the insider threats and meter attacks, phishing, biting, and deception tactics. First of all, I would like to take the first topic, APT. It's a advanced persistent threats, and then I will discuss about the insider threats. Later onwards, we'll see meter attack as well as the phishing attacks and biting attacks in the cyber security. What is an APT? APT stands for Advanced Persistent Threat. It is a kind of a covert cyber attack on the computer network where the attacker gains and maintains all the informations of a particular user or any particular organization. And finally, in the APT attack, the unauthorized access of the particular targeted network will take place. And moreover, these kind of attacks remain undetected for a significant period of time. Main purpose is to maintain there is undetected till they get or make the important attack or targeted attack on a particular company or corporate company, or it might be a particular organization or an individual user. It's a kind of an hidden attack or disguised cyber attack. Here, this kind of unauthorized users will able to access the networks, and finally, they are going to take over the entire network. One of the good example for this particular APT attack is Iranian's nuclear attack by the US as well as the Israeli militaries. The attack has happened in 2010 first time, whereas the Iranians computer hardware has been attacked by this particular a worm called Stunex, and this was the first APT attack in the cyber. What exactly the APT and how this term comes? In the APT, the advanced part which goes to the the attacker is going to take over the defenders, or he's going to spoil all the efforts of the defenders, and he can develop a zero-day exploits. Zero-day exploits means that usually if the particular a vulnerability will be studied by the attacker, and he is going to adopt the various types of worms to the particular system, and it will be unknown to the developers or a particular user, and he is very difficult to mitigate this kind of an attack, zero-day exploit. And in this particular APT, why it is called as advanced? Because they are going to use the sophisticated tools and various techniques to spoil the network. Why it is called persistent? Because the attacks are objective specific rather than subjective specific. They are going to continue until the goal is reached. They are going to remain until they reach the target network, and they are going to spoil the particular network. Their main intention is to maintain a long-term connectivity with a particular network. The types of threats here is, it is a threat entities behind the attacks. Various entities, might be individual user or a corporate network, it might be, or financial institutions, or any particular device. No, it is not a kind of a malware. It is going to exploit the particular system alone. What are the various motives behind the APT? The APTs are varied motivations, which includes acquiring the large sums of money and compromising a critical infrastructures and accessing intellectual property of a particular organization or an individual user. For example, most of the times, state-sponsored attackers, often that backed by the governments, they launch APTs, or they launch APTs to acquire the military intelligence of the another country. On the other hand, another types of motives can be of organized crime syndicates. They used to back the APT attacks to pursue financial profits. In an essence, both rogue criminals groups as well as the national governments orchestrate these particular APT attacks. That is, advanced persistent threat attacks. These are the major motives here. How exactly the APT attack will works? In the beginning, the initial reconciliation will take place, and initial intrusion will be released to the network or an individual system. And further, the APT will establish the foothold. Usually the attackers is going to capture the system. Then they are going to do the privilege escalations, and because they are going to deep into the particular system, most of the privileged users will be control will be taken, and finally the data exfiltrations will take place by using that. And after the data exfiltrations, these APT attackers will remain present in the system for a longer period of time for the purpose of getting more and more information to spoil the entire network or entire system. How these hackers will perform? The first one is reconnaissance. In this, first they are going to identify the scope of the target network, because one which they are targeted on a particular system. For example, as I told earlier, Iranians uranium plant has been targeted by the US and Israeli team. This was happened in the 2010. Their target was to make the problems to the computer hardware systems as well as the software system operations of that particular systems, one which is present in the Iran, because they are going to exploit the problem to the particular client, and they identified first. That is the first scope of the target network is. And next, they are going to locate the open ports and access points in the system or a network. Because how they locate the open ports and access points is by discovering the various parameters which is related to the target network, and they are going to scan the ports, and finally by port scanning they are going to identify the open ports, similarly the various access points. Next is the target is identification of the types of services on the particular ports. For example, the HTTP port, which provides a one type of services, and that type of services will be identified by this particular team. Then further, they are going to map the entire network reconciliation, where avoiding detection the whole time, because they wanted to keep their existence as a silence, because it is very difficult to find out, suppose if the particular attacker is inside the particular system, and how these hackers will perform this activity. First one is this kind of a method is a passive methods they use. In the passive methods, social engineering, especially the social networks, will be targeted first. Why? Because they wanted to make some of the data gathering of the users. Here, users' data may be available in the OS intelligence, that is open source intelligence also. In the OS intelligence, they are going to collect openly available information about the target entity, and various public forums also there. That is social engineering is the one of the best method. And here the passive methods, it is very difficult to find out whether, because they are not going to harm any particular user or user account during this process. Why? Because they are collecting the data. Next, they are going to make the active scanning using the tools like network mapping tool, and there are some of the vulnerability scanners are there, like Nessus as well as the OpenVAS. These are all the vulnerability tools are used for the active scanning of a particular weakest findings of the network. And third method they can use is hackers can make use of phishing methods, where they are going to triggering the users into sharing some sensitive informations by sending the various links, and they collect the informations. Next, they are going to take about in the fourth steps as a DNS lookups, where they are going to mapping the networks and retrieving the domain details, IP addresses, and many more details of the particular network or individual PC. Then they are going to make use of the wireless monitoring, where it exploits the weakness of the data or any unencrypted data which is present in the Wi-Fi will be gathered by using of a wireless monitoring system. Next, metadata analysis. Here, they are extracting the hidden data from the shared files. And the seventh method, last method, can be of a physical access, observing or accessing the devices directly. What are the various characteristics with respect to the advanced persistent threats? The major characteristics which involves these types of attacks are hidden attacks, and they are targeted to the particular individual, or and this kind of attacks are relentless, means ruthless. How it is a covert? Normally, the advanced persistent threats, attackers are going to adopting a indirect approach, means they are going to creating a confusion and disorder by the disrupting entire systems, and they remain silent or a dormant during this particular initial infections to the particular target network. And why? Because it will avoids the rising alarms in the target network if they remain silent or dormant. So that is helpful for the particular attacker, because he can collect more and more information throughout his existence. The prolonged dormancy of this particular covert channel, by using the covert channels or a covert signals, it allows this kind of attackers to silently observe as well as collect the informations, as well as executing sophisticated operations for a longer period of time. And the second characteristics of the APTs are targeted. It is particularly objective based. With a clear objective, they are armed with the knowledge collections or information collections of a particular system or a network, and in which they are going to finding the security vulnerabilities of the particular target network. It is also considered as a relentless, means ruthless, where these APTs attackers are going to create many entry points for the target organizations, and in which multiple points of compromise will
Are you muted, sir?
Am I audible now?
Hi.
Yeah, okay. Okay, fine.
Hi, sir.
Okay. Covert, yeah, I am discussing about the characteristics of the advanced persistent threats. In this, they are going to use a indirect approach, and they will remain dormant for a period of time till they reach a particular existence in their particular network, and they are targeted to the particular individual, and they are armed to get the knowledge of the target security vulnerabilities. Why it is the characteristics ruthless the APTs are? Because they create several entry points into the target organization's network systems with multiple points of compromise. APT initiators can evade or delay the incident response efforts of a target system, so that the incident response team will not be able to make any particular responses for this particular target attack. As I told earlier, it is a hidden attack. They used to have the unauthorized and hidden attack by using the covert channels.
There are two types of channels here, covert timing channel as well as the covert storage channel. Whereas in the case of covert timing channel, the attacker is going to give the release the information by modulating its use of system resources. And in a storage channel, the process is going to write the data to the a particular storage location, and another process of lower clearance reads it. And this is how, for example, a particular advanced persistent threats remain existing for the particular attacker in such a way that, for example, there are Alice and Bob. They are going to share the information by using this covered channel. This is also a possible. For example, Wendy is the third person, is a third party or an intruder. He cannot able to see this particular by using the covered channel. Overt, actually, the Alice adds the covered message here in this particular channel, whereas the Bob will receive the same at the other end. And as a Wendy, he is not able to view this particular thing. Why? Because they are going to exchange the with a secret key in this particular covered channel. What are the known attack pathways utilized in APT campaigns? There are three types of uh, attack pathways. One is a spear phishing, another is the rootkit, another is a zero-day attack. Let us will see what is a spear phishing. Spear phishing is a kind of a direct attack or a specific attack to the privileged user's credentials. They are going to focus. For example, the how this spear phishing is different from phishing is. Phishing is normally a broad and automated attack that is less sophisticated and which will take close to the entire group, for example. Whereas in the spear phishing, it is a target entity is a customized attack on the a specific employee or a specific company in that particular setup. A privileged user is going to identify it and the exclusively search on this particular informations by using the potential infiltrations by the spear phishing. Most of the times, the information gathering here is keyloggers or as in social engineering approaches will be used here. Phishing versus spear phishing. The phishing targets the large group of a users, hoping few victims bite and bite. Whereas in the spear phishing, a more personalized attack targeting a specific individual or as an organization. How to avoid this phishing? Phishing means we have to check the sender's email address and look out for grammatical errors or spelling mistakes. Avoid clicking on any links or any downloads. Similarly, whereas in the spear phishing, we need to beware of what you share online and look out for suspicious requests. Most of the time, sensitive informations like financial transactions will be involved here. That information should not be shared. Verify all the requests before we approve anything, or we can make sure that this particular person, by making use of our normal telephone call or face to face or any other means of communications only, we can avoid that one. The second method of a pathway is utilized by this APT, that is advanced persistent threats, are rootkits. These rootkits are stealthy malicious programs which is available inside the malicious system or a already harmed system. It is unknowingly installed on any particular devices. Whereas these attackers are going to use this rootkit for modifications as well as bypassing the user permissions as well as the security. Once the attacker has an access, yeah. Can we continue now? Yeah. Somebody, mic is on. Please make it.
It's the top, sir. You can proceed.
A rootkit attackers are here by the attackers will use these rootkits for the major modifications or bypassing the permissions. Once this attacker has access, they may use the rootkit for stealing information, spread malware, or infect all other devices of the particular network. These are all create the hidden access point. Third one is zero-day attacks. Zero-day attacks is a vulnerability, is undiscovered security flaw within the software applications, and it is unknown for the particular manufacturer of the system also sometimes if it is a hardware or a software. How we can avoid these zero-day attacks? Most of the time, zero-day attacks, there is no time. That is why it is called as a zero-day. For giving response, it is very difficult. Means all these files are executable files or worms are located or installed on the system. For example, your user computer is infected with the malicious code. We can use a Windows API, that is scanner makes API call here, so that it is going to find out this rootkit at the operating system level, so that all these executables will be scanned and we can categorize that good and bad separately, and it will directly remove the such particular, the scanners will remove the rootkits. And these zero-day attacks, mainly the first step of the zero-day attack is there are some systems with a security flaw which exists, but these are unknown to the developers as well as it is very vulnerable for the attacks. As a hacker, he discovers weakness of the system and accordingly he will exploit the system with some injection or injection attack or malware injections. And cyber attacks, this is a kind of cyber attacks, it ensures from the malware potentially resulting in a data loss. And developer detect the attack, but there is no time for them. There is 0 days to mitigate that. There are 5 stages of APT, that is advanced persistent threat. First one is securing the access that I gather the informations. The second step is, the second stage of APT is infiltrations. During the infiltration, he is going to make the foothold and then lateral movement will take place, spreading these particular worms, then initiating the attacks based on these. And finally, whatever the data required, like data exfiltrations will take place. And these 5 stages, first one, securing the access, creating multiple access point in the target network, and these secure access points are by means of privileged user credentials, That means user has given with the admin options or admin privilege or this such kind of a privileged user credentials, or by sending phishing emails or zero-day vulnerabilities. In the infiltrations, he is going to establish the remote network access for the compromised systems through the malicious software. Wherever these attackers will set up an outbound connections, and these attackers use custom developed malware for maintaining and remain hide during this particular period of time. So this is called as a securing access, whereas the user data has been uh, collected by the intruder by means of two ways. For example, as he is accessing the some services, during the time of getting the services, he has to provide his user credentials to the service systems. So during that period of time, the intruder has a keep an eye on the particular network, and finally intruder will, this is called as a securing access. The infiltrations will establishing and making the attack path, the multiple attack paths they will create, and finally these multiple attack paths will give them a chance to give the or get the details. And these are all the uh, lateral movements. How these lateral movements for the attackers. Here, attackers is going to use the brute force attacks by trying all the possibilities and various other network vulnerabilities that can be extended by this particular during the time of a lateral movement. One of the good example for the lateral movement is accessing a server or a service by passing the ticket. In this, the actual user, for example, is going to request a ticket granting ticket by the authentication server, whereas she is the domain controller or authentication system, and he used to give the ticket to the user, actual user. But in the meantime, the machine with the malware means actual users machine or a system contains a malwares, and these malwares will collect that ticket. Once the user gets the ticket, that ticket is collected by the these attackers machine. Attacker machine will collect the ticket, and that will be produced to the a second TGT, means the ticket granting ticket service, and this ticket is presented to the TGS, ticket granting server, and they receive TGS, means for the service ticket. And once the service ticket goes to the attacker machine, he can claim the service with the server, where actual services are provided by the a particular because the access will be granted by the particular server system. That is called as a lateral movement. One more, the step is called as initiating the attack. By getting various informations and taking control of the system by foothold or broadening their foothold, these ATP attackers are identify the valuable data, and they are intended to exploit and move it to a secure locations within the network. And further, they are going for the exfiltrations. In this, information exfiltrations will take place. The exfiltration marks the last stage of the APT. During this time or stage, the APT attackers extract all the sensitive data from the target networks, and it is a kind of a compromiser systems by maybe making use of collecting information through the tunneling techniques or encrypted channels. If the exfiltration goes unnoticed, the attackers might available in the same system for a longer period of time to make some more harm to the particular system. How do you identify APT? There are several methods. First method is monitoring entire system or a entire network. So one is you can monitor unusual network activity in the entire network, and we can also find out unusual logins, abnormal access patterns, like most of the times the access patterns of the attackers are different, and a typical network traffic study, and whether it is a usual network traffic or any special notices are there, and multiple failed login attempt. These are all the kind of an unusual network activities, and suspicious user behavior should be noticed. That is another way of identifying the APT attack. Whereas the suspicious connections in the external devices, like unusual data transfer between them, or any typical increases in the data traffic across your network, are indicators of this APT attack. And there may be a chances of data anomalies. Look for peculiar data files in your system. These unusual data files can indicate a kind of a sensitive user informations, or gathering, exfiltrating the sensitive information by using the sophisticated tools or an organized attempt. How do you protect against these kind of persistent threats? Of course, in the previous steps I already given with the some of the alarming signs also. What you cannot afford ignore. For example, unusual activity can be alarmed, suspicious user behavior, data anomalies, and quick detection is key, as well as follow some prevention tips. So the prevention tips or protect against the advanced persistent threats, which includes one of the step is called whitelisting. We need to designate a specific set of applications as well as domains as a secure one. So insecure domains need not be make use of this particular set. You need not to designate it in a particular favorite, and also exclusively a permitted traffic originating from the applications and domains you need to specify it on your list. In the whitelisting, access to pre-approved entities only. Further, it blocks access by default, and it is a kind of a trusted centric approach. And the second type of protecting against the APT attacks are vulnerability scanning. It is a continuous process. There are three steps here. One is identification as well as inventory in the entire network. As a second step, during the time of type of identification and making a proper inventory, that will help the users. For example, detecting and analysis. As in the step 3, the remediation and a continuous monitoring will take place. Keep your software update always during this process, so that there is the first step where we need to follow that. And always the vulnerability scanning means it's a kind of a routine work. Routine scan need to be taken place for identifying the weaknesses of the system or any particular malicious actors which is present inside the system. And the third type of protecting APT threats are multi-factor authentication. Some of the examples for this particular multi-factor authentications are: the user can possess something as well as he can approve something, and also he is having something he has, something he owns, and something he knows. For example, something he knows means username and password should be protected as a first step. As a second step, we can make use of any kind of a OTP, or third step as he has, for example, fingerprint or biometric informations. By making use of a multi-factor authentication, we can avoid these kind of attack threats. And how we can detect this APT? There are four different methods. One is feature extractions by making use of the ML algorithm, classification modules, log data sets we can use, and by making use of the machine learning data. As you know, the many users, they are connecting with the public network, and they can use this particular detection module. In this detection module, as a first step, they are going to filtering the network traffic, and they are doing the feature extractions by making use of the received data, and they need to classify the module here. The module may include kind of a APT data, or it's a kind of a encrypted data like a crypto data, or it's a kind of a other types of data. And the user can make use of a log of data sets. Further, the machine learning algorithm is able to classify this kind of data, and the genuine user access is given to the cloud storage is given to the genuine users. So that this is the one way used to detecting an APTs. The alert is a kind of an alert signals by identifying the APT types or crypto types, that is encrypted data types separately, or other data types. First step is called as a data processing here. In this machine learning data system, data is collected and processed. Further, the event detection. What type of event? Whether the data is encrypted traffic identifications, and need to find the protocol analysis, and periodic analysis will take place during this event detection, and intrusion detection analysis maybe by making use of the networked intrusion detection and prevention systems, or host based intrusion detection and prevention systems. Further, it process the event after detecting the event. It is going to process that event, and association analysis will take place. The final data is retrieved or filtered data on the user side. How we can manage these threats? First, we need to protect the perimeter by making a limitations and control access to the firewall and physical space of the systems. Then monitor everything, means gather everything you can about as well as your data. Means any kind of a data which is passing through the your bandwidth is to be monitored. properly, and that should be segregated. Next, apply the data security analytics. Just now in the previous slides, I have explained about detections by making use of the feature extraction of the log data sets. Classification modules can be used by making use of the machine learning algorithm. That is analytics. This is a kind of a security analytics, data security analytics, where you can compare the files and the user activities on the baseline behaviors. How we defend against this APT? One is proactively detecting this kind of APTs. Another thing is you can make use of a cyber security best practices. First one is proactively detecting the advanced persistent threats. Unusual activity on the user accounts is need to be proactively detected, and uncharacteristic data access or a transfer activities need to be proactively detected. Sudden increase in spear phishing attempts, maybe by making use of an email system, by making use of the web link pages, links, which is shared by means of all the social engineering techniques. Any increase in such kind of a phishing attempt to the actual users, that need to be proactively detected. Next, presence of some unusual files, like unusual locations. Files in the unusual locations means your program files may contain some malware files also, that need to be proactively detected. And anomalies on the outbound data, then increased detection of a backdoor trojans. So this will help proactively we detect the APTs. What are the best practices? That is cyber security best practices for protecting these kind of APTs. First thing is we need to leverage the threat intelligence and conduct some third party security assessments always. Developing an incident response plan properly and follow the principle of zero trust security. Next, use of application and domain whitelisting was one which I already explained earlier. Next, secure remote connections. Patch all the softwares and install updates on the time. Filter incoming emails. These are the best practices. This can be divided into the four different ways actually. Adopting some kind of a threat intelligence driven security framework. Here we are use up to date intelligence to stay ahead of evolving threats, because every day to day life the new threat has comes to the network, that is to be adopted, or that detection can be adopted or identified with the help of adopting some threat intelligence driven security framework. Next, we need to focus on threat hunting, actively seek hidden threats for the prevent damage here. Third step is to continuous training and awareness for the users. Next, fourth one is invest in automated threat intelligence tools. So automatically it identifies this kind of a threats and giving some responses to it. This is the one of the case study of a how the APT will take place. For example, this particular case study, which involves how the APT will collect the information of the users by making use of the various delivery, payload delivery steps and how they execute it. In the stage one, there are two stages of stage 1A, 1B here. That is payload delivery and payload execution. In the message number one, usually spear phishing email is sent to the particular user by making use of a file called agenda.pdf. The PDF is a kind of a malware data. A beacon to envy count malicious HTML agenda.html is created and is in the third step. There is a malicious ISO is returned to the victims, that is users. And this contains a kind of ISO is a kind of a malware data again. And a shortcut file is executed in the user system by using the information.ink file. And a new process has been started as an executable files agenda.exe in the fifth step. And in the sixth step, the first malicious DLL file has been loaded in this. And in the seventh, second malicious DLL has been loaded to get the more details about the user. And in the stage one, payload will be compressed with some file name. And then in the ninth stage, this user information has been uploaded to the Google Drive share. And in the 10th step, the stage 2 payload is returned to the user with the Cobalt Strike. It's a kind of a cyber attack. And finally, and the command and control, which communication has been established with this particular cross50.com, means this is the intended or target network or of the particular APT. Let us will see at the end of this APT, that is Advanced Persistent Threat, what is a life cycle of this particular APT. The APT life cycle, which involves the 12 different processes and starting with initial target of the system or a machine to covering entire informations and remain undetected. As a first step, target, defining the target or identifying the target, find and organize the accomplices, and build and acquire the tools. Then research the target in the fifth cycle, test for detection, deployment, finally initial intrusion will make over here, and outbound connection is initiated, and finally ninth step, expanding the access and obtain these credentials, and by making use of this, strengthening the foothold in this system or a network, exfiltrate the data and remain undetected for a longer period of time. This is called as an APT's life cycle. Next, I will move on to the insider threats and related countermeasures for this. With this, any doubts or any questions so far for the advanced restricted threats? Okay, we can continue the second topic also now. Insider threats and countermeasures. I will be covering following topics here in insider threats. That is uh, about insider threats and mistakes what we do, and kinds of insider threats, source of visibility, IT sabotage, as well as how to combat this particular insider threats. Insider threat is an malicious threat to an organization, and maybe because of the following entities, maybe an present employee of an organization or ex-employees, and various contractors, means the partnership people with the particular organizations, or some business associates with some agreements. The person who have inside information is concerning the organization security practices or data or any computer systems. What are the mistakes of an employee which creates an insider threat? One is handling our password. One is how we handle our of passwords. The password handling, for example, most of our mistakes are shoulder surfing. When we are going to surfing and a person behind us will watches the keystrokes and watches the data as it appears on the particular screen, and we are exposed, or our data password has been compromised with somebody. Next, dumpster diving means most of the times the people will write their password in a piece of paper, or they will throw it to a garbage, and the intruder would have a gain physical access to these premises and get this data or password data or whatever the critical informations. One is the first one is called intentional one. Second one is unintentional. Okay, let us will see the types of insider threats. One of the insider threat is called negligent insiders. Another is malicious insiders and compromised insiders. These are the three basic categories. We have of other categories also. We will discuss further. In the negligent insiders, employees who accidentally expose the data. Means I had given an example in the previous topic that the password has written in a piece of paper as is thrown to the dustbin or some places, that is exposed to the intruder. So there is a negligent insider. Malicious insiders are different. These employees who intentionally expose the organization data for some particular purpose. A compromised insiders, whereas employees whose access credentials or personal computers, these have been compromised by the outside attackers, which may not be known to these insiders. That is called compromised insiders. How we can prevent this or detect these kind of insider threats? Prevention maybe access controls, proper access controls. If we use these, negligent insiders will not face any problem. Or always make use of the encryption of a data at rest, or we can make use of the digital rights management, or like digilockers or something. And we have to give an awareness or educate the people of this kind of a negligent insiders. The malicious insiders can be prevented by strengthening the access controls and make use of various checks and balances. This can be detected easily by management training to the employees, as well as a continuous monitoring of activity of the various people. The compromised insiders we need to detect by making use of this monitoring only. And further we can have the one more types of insider attacks. Apart from the negligent, malicious, and obvious insider, there is a professional insider. And in case of the obvious insider, insiders with important access to the company information has been compromised by that is kind of a compromised insider. Then malicious or dangerous, similarly negligent. In case of the professional insider, the insiders are making some career of exploiting the company network and this company's weaknesses and selling that information on the dark web, maybe for financial benefit. These kind of inside attacks are called as professional insiders, and always they used to do this kind of things. Whereas in case of the malicious insider, how they are different from professional insider is insiders of the malicious, they are going to steal data intentionally, or they are going to destroy the company networks, such as an employee that deletes the company data on the last day of his work because he holds the entire credentials. And further, we have the one more types of threats or insider threats are called as a collusive insider threats. Maybe all other types of threats are known. In these collusive threats, there is a collaboration between a partner and external partner with the insider, malicious insider. And they are trying to compromise the organizations or selling the informations. How we can write this in a three types of malicious or negligent or accidental insider threats. The main aim of this particular motive of the malicious is to harm, making harm, and conscious decision for act inappropriately, whereas accidental, no conscious decision, and there is no motive of a harming the entire network. Negligent users are very unknown about this. The detecting or how we can detect these insider threats are detect the breached accounts of the various users. First, we need to identify such accounts and change the password or strengthen the passwords of such particular accounts. Or else, if there is any suspended accounts are there that need to be deleted, or any ex-employees' data are still functioning, that is need to be make a suspension. Then these are all the various methods. And always track this third party access. When the organization has given a third party access of data access of a organization, then we need to monitor it properly or track it properly. Speak of if you spot anything fishy, yes, any employee of the particular organization need to raise this if they watch these kind of activities. Manual and automated audits can be conducted. It's a continuous activity like vulnerability assessment and so and so. Next, perform sentiment analysis is the last option for this particular kind of a finding. So these are all some of the common sense guides to prevent and detect the type of attacks or insider attacks. The percentage of the cases in various categories, whether it is an IT sabotage or financial gain purpose or business advantage, whatever it may be, the percentage of cases usually 45% in IT sabotage and financial gain for 44%, and business advantage 14%. One is by the one particular activity, for example, employment. Maybe IT sabotage will take place because of former employee, because sabotage has been taken place in the information technology area or any particular corporate industry by him only. But financial gain happens usually by the current employee. Similarly, business advantage will take the positions. Maybe in IT sabotage, the technical people are involved, whereas financial gain, data entry and customer service people, and business advantage, technical or sales people. The authorized access is very rare in case of IT sabotage, whereas in financial gain, 75% and 88 in case of business advantage. Use their own credentials in IT sabotage, usually around 30%, and financial gain, maximum, the 85% are using their own credentials for getting the financials. And business advantage, almost always they use their own credentials only. That means 100%. In compromised an account, in IT sabotage case, 43% only compromisation of an. But financial gain very 10% and business advantage very rare. Attack was non-technical, 65% and 84% in financial gain. And when it happens, IT sabotage usually happens after the working hours. But financial gains always happens normal working hours only, and even business advantage also. Where exactly it takes place? IT sabotage always takes place at the remote place, and whereas financial gain as well as business advantage at the local. ID means by using their identifications due to all these types of attacks, like insider threats attacks, because of the locks. Source of visibility here. Firewall locks need to be uh, taken, and whether we are going to filter these logs means data. Are you logging everything, or we are filtering or just denying all? Then another source of visibility is internal and host intrusion prevention systems. Host-based prevention systems usually has a lot of breadth, and this can be expensive to deploy in all the places, because all the host systems we cannot provide the intrusion detection systems. And signature-based attacks is visible here. Whereas in the case of a log management solutions like security information and event management, are we collecting everything or only partial informations? You can only see what gets logged in. And use of a net flow is a tool, kind of a tool. The lots of breadth and lots of less breadth here means depth is very short here. Lower disk space requirements for this kind of a net flow source of visibility. Whereas this is a kind of a tool only. This tool will give the flow of informations. Next, full packet capture. These are deep but not broad one, and it is a more expensive one, and it is a high risk space requirement. So this is the visibility of internal visibility without the net flow, because net flow has not been installed. In all the cases, we can observe here, this is the public internet, and here is a firewall systems. And inside the firewall systems, we have a VPN, virtual private network, and also we have a DMZ, demilitarized zone. This is the very important data has been kept here. Next, internal network of the various users. And the net flow is not installed here in this particular case. Let us will see here. Okay, when the net flow is installed, and NetFlow has been installed over these firewall systems as well as the router of this particular internal network, and also NetFlow collector at this particular point. So what is this NetFlow packets collectors? They are going to collect some of the informations, start time, end time, MAC address of the system, and byte count, and many more information which is flowing inside the network. That is net flow. What are the effective ways of mitigating these insider threats? The mitigating the insider threats, we have a tailor their insider threats programs and risk appetite, because the organizations have the unique missions or a culture about the critical assets and the threat landscape. And they are building a culture of reporting and prevention, so that it gives and reinforces some of the positive statements of an organization's investment for a well-being of its people. And another effective insider threat mitigations which involves employing the multidisciplinary capabilities, so that it enables the technologies as well as a dedicated personal based organization type, size, culture, nature, value of the business, and risk tolerance to act of malicious or negligent or unintentional insiders that can be mitigated. And another type of mitigating the programs for the insider threats are apply the framework of detect and identify, do the assessment and manage this by making use of mitigating these insider threats, and establishing a proactive supportive culture, so that it protects the civil liberties and maintain the confidentialities throughout the. This is another way of mitigating. Next, mitigating programs for the effective insider threats are assist organizations in providing a safe and non-threatening environments, so that the individuals who can pose threat are identified, and which helps before their actions that can cause any kind of an harm. The IT sabotage means a targeted monitoring of an employees. Here are normally the HR radar point, and access after the termination, maybe accounts or open sessions, maybe the compromised accounts. One is, and already session is opened, and by making use of that, this IT sabotage can be taken place by the former employee. Usually, former employee will do this kind of a IT sabotage. Sabotage is a kind of a destroying everything or any kind of a data which is present in the server. Or we can find out by using the unusual access after, because IT sabotage which takes place after the working hours. After the working hours, any kind of unusual access, what is that time or which device is used, what is their source of IP address or destination address they are going to targeting, and any kind of a mismatches of these former or present employee differences that can be identified here. How to combat insider threat? in a case of a multidisciplinary challenge. Usually, IT cannot address inside threat by itself because the people have tendency to think that IT is solely responsible for all computer security issues. No, IT only cannot combat these kind of threats because they are going to bypass the IT also. So that we need to have some legal option also. Legal options means our policies are in place with the organization. Are they realistic policies? And does this legal support IT practices properly by the organization? So there is another thing. Just like an IT, we have a legal. Next, HR. Who is coming and going means who is going to recruited in this particular period and who are all reviewed from this particular period and who has a workspace issues, whether he is working remotely or whether he is working in office. Are there soft solutions? These things need to be monitored continuously by the HR team. Next, IT, is privacy of end users adequately provided, yeah, protected? And this impact workplace harmony are policies, monitoring, and enforcement having. And whether these organizations apply these policies consistently or not. Because the policies which makes one kind of a security or avoiding these kind of a security issues, because some of the legal actions against the former employee may stop other former employees to make this kind of a IT sabotage. What are the tips for preventing these kind of an uh, IT sabotage or employee sabotage in the firm? Begin with the initial recruitment means we the HR team has to make use of a thorough recruitment process and by collecting their previous experience or on previous organizations and various other parameters. Responsibility for actions. Every employee of an organization should know their responsibility, should aware of their responsibility. What happens if they are irresponsible in this particular matter? So that policy need to be governed by the particular organizations on a need to know basis. Actually, there are few employees, they are not at all required some data. Still, they are asking the people to give this data. That means who needs to know what and how much. That is to be known by the organizations. And the important policies to protection. And because of the excellent policy, will communicate your expectations. That means the organization's expectations will be communicated with the policies. So this is one other kind of a protection for the this kind of a sabotage activities. A feedback time and place, because the feedback means gives you the regular evaluations about an employee and his work and how much he has worked inside the sorry, workspace or remote space. Everything in a timeline we will get, and finally it will be known to everyone. Don't cut corners on security. That means change the passcodes of the former employees or any particular account of the particular staff, those who are going on leave. And further, we can revoke access. Next, corporate culture. An open and varied culture that encourages their employees' voice and so that they keep you in touch with the workspace general well-being so that this kind of a insider attack threat will be reduced. I hope another any now it is 7:29. Yeah. Can I continue or another 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Or
Okay, sir.
okay. Otherwise, I will continue in the next tomorrow session. This part.
Okay. Okay. That will be good because we will get a
Yeah, yeah, correct. They need
relaxed
some break.
version.
Yes, yes, sure. I will continue this meter attack and other things in the next tomorrow's session. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable session.
Yeah.
And we got an idea about APT and its long effect on the big organizations.
Yes.
And I think I request participants to express their views or questions regarding this. And we have the same faculty tomorrow also. That
Okay.
also you are free to ask the questions or express your feedbacks. Kindly come forward, some of the participants, kindly, please. I think
Tomorrow I will continue with the remaining topics so that they will get more information tomorrow on the like meter attack and fishing and biting information along with the one open source tools so that they will get more familiarization of this. Okay. Tomorrow I will continue if there is no questions. Otherwise, they can ask the questions tomorrow. Yes. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
ready, we return to the same after 5 minutes. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you. I will wait. Thank you.
And welcome, Dr. Vinny Sharma. You can present the screen and we can start the session after 5 minutes.
Okay, surely, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Please wait, madam. Shall we start the next session? Respected participants and other colleagues.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would like to introduce our speaker for the session, Dr. Vinny Sharma. I will give a short introduction about her. She is very famous and very actively working professor, young scientist. And Mrs. Vinny Sharma is a professor of Forensic Science and Associate Dean Students Welfare at Galgothias University, India. She is also an active learning mentor at Galgothias University. She has over a decade of experience in the field of forensic science and has been training not only students but also the law enforcement officers in India, including NIA, NSG, ATS, and abroad in her forensic journey. She is specialized and has expertise in fingerprints examination, cyber forensic, criminal profiling, graphology, and artificial intelligence integration in forensic science. She was also an invited faculty at prestigious institutions in India. Along with this, she has also provided her useful services as expert evidence in different court laws India. She has been actively working as a social counselor for survivors of sexual assault, specifically with the teenagers. She is an activist working against cyber. She is working with various forensic science and criminological associations for spreading awareness against cybercrime and cyberbullying. She is a member of various organizations, editorial board, Indian Botanist, blog or journal, India, member, EPG, Pathshala Project, MHRD, Government of India, member, editorial board, International Journal of Forensic Science, Red Flower Publication India, advisory board member, Criminological Research and Development Organization India. She also has done her training on stakeholder engagement for implementation of the United Nations Convention Against Transactional Organized Crime, organized by UNODC, United Nations Office on Drug and Crime. She has published research papers, articles in national and international journals, magazines, newspapers, books. She also has been invited as speaker, guest speaker, keynote speaker, jury in various national and international conferences and webinars. She has 16 patents and one copyrighted credited to her. She has been awarded with the honorary membership of Criminological Research and Development Organization India. She is also an appointed Innovation Ambassador, Galgothias University for Institute Innovation Cell and initiative of Ministry of Education, Government of India. She has also mentored 10 startups during her duration in Galgothias University into private limited companies. Thank you. I am very proud to welcome you, madam, to this session. I will hope this will be a very interesting and informative session on the field of forensic science. Thank you. And I would like to congratulate for your achievements in this younger age. And all of you can visit her profile on Galgothias University that list all the papers and achievements she made in this short span. Welcome, madam, again to this function. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words of introduction and praise. And thank you so much for this invitation. And I am extremely delighted to be part of this esteemed workshop, FDP also. And I, first of all, would like to thank all the organizing team that they all are online at this late hour. And I really appreciate the strength of the FDP, seeing there are more than 100 members who have joined. Uh, Again at this late hour. So thank you everyone. And as shared with the organizing team earlier, I will be sharing my presentation with you all, but I will be trimming some of the parts because some of the content that I will be sharing is not to be disclosed or to be at available, but I'm gonna be showing it to you. So I humbly request all of you to not take screenshots. I will share my presentation. So thank you so much. And with this, I think I have the rights to share my screen.
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can somebody please confirm that they are able to see my screen and the slides are changing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the camera because I believe that sometimes the bandwidth varies. Okay, I hope that is okay, ma'am.
Yes, madam. That's also.
Okay, thank you so much. So, as you can see, the number of slides is huge, but don't worry. Okay, I will try to limit it within the time span that has been allocated to me. So, see, first of all, I really appreciate all of you to bring out a topic of digital forensics, considering the need of the hour, what we have today. Okay, now, but before we begin, I would like to ask you that if anybody can tell me, like if you can unmute yourselves, the participants, or if you want, you can put it in the chat and any of the organizing member you can read it out for me. That do you recall, like just within the span of 48 hours when your FDP has started on social media, there was something related to a theft, cyber identity theft happened. Or if I would say the fake news, to be more in the generic terminologies, has been spread. In just the span of 48 hours, it has happened.
I noticed a news uh, about SIR, and in Kerala, SIR is spreading and some fake news regarding that.
Okay. But this is
The
the thing I'm talking about is related to a celebrity, very
IDP.
famous
Regarding
Bollywood celebrity.
Dharmendra's
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So, unfortunately, he was admitted, and then somebody posted on social media, and immediately it was available not only on the social media handles of individuals, but also the news media was also spreading, sharing this particular news.
Yeah,
And
ma'am,
there were,
regarding actor Dharmendra.
yes, the tribute were also being given to him. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
the cinematic channels, with the channels which provides which showcases the films on the television, they also started screening his movies in marathon. OTT platforms created a special tab of Dharmendra's movie. So, see, when we are talking about digital forensics, okay, that is how much strong it is, okay, and it is not confined to one particular road or one particular room or one particular house. Okay, it is having a global coverage. That is why it is very essential to understand when we what exactly is digital forensics. There is a lot of confusion, okay, between digital forensics, cyber forensics, terms like cyber security also. Okay, so I'll try to uh, cover all this and I'll help. I mean, I hope that after this 1.5 hour session, a lot of things will be clear to everyone who is present here. I think somebody's mic is on, so I humbly request you to please mute it. Yeah, Soumya SM. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. So, before moving on to what is exactly digital forensics, the word forensics needs to be understood first of all. See, the word forensics is coming from the word forensis, whose origin is found in Latin and Greek, which means it belongs to forum. Okay, and this entire concept comes from the ancient Roman cities, wherein the judgment investigation was done in front of the whole crowd. Okay, so judicial matters were handled in front of the crowd. Okay, that is why this word forensics comes from. And when we talk about forensic sciences in current sense today, we are talking about the applications of scientific methods and techniques for the purposes of justice. So we are not limiting it to biology, physics, chemistry. Okay, it is all the scientific methods and techniques. And when we say techniques, we are also including the technological advancements that are happening in the binary world also. Okay, so forensic science is branching not only in the basic sciences, but it also branched towards the social sciences. As you heard that that one of my area of expertise is profiling. So profiling is integrated into social sciences and psychological sciences. Okay, then we have the forensic criminalistic sciences, which includes the branches such as your fingerprints, question documents, and toxicology, and definitely explosives, which is much in talk today. Okay, and in the past few years, or I should say decades, the world of digital forensics has been expanding. When we are talking about digital forensics, the standard definition is being given by the NIST, that is National Institutes of Standards and Technology USA, which talks about that digital forensics is the usage of science specifically for identification, collection, examination, and analysis while preserving the reliability of evidence retaining through the chain of custody. Now, all these words are extremely technical when it comes to forensic sciences. When we talk about identification, examination, and analysis, somebody who doesn't have a forensic background may say that all these are similar. But there is a huge difference when you come into the domain of forensic sciences. Collection also is an extremely important step, and with the domain of digital forensics, it is referred to as evidence seizure rather than collection. Okay. Mark Keith has also defined digital forensics, wherein he has specifically broken down entire domain of digital forensics in the steps which are there or involved, I should say, in the in the investigation of such crimes that involves digital forensics. Okay. Now, digital forensics, as I said, is again a bigger umbrella, and it is covering different domains. It covers the data analysis, it covers the mobile forensic, video audio analysis, which is also referred to as multimedia forensics. Then you have computer forensics, cyber forensics, and database forensics. So when we simply say that so and so is a digital forensic expert, or so and so is a computer forensic expert, or somebody says that I am a mobile forensic expert, so it's because that there are different domains in digital forensics in which we are dwelling into. Now, call myself as cyber forensic expert, and in cyber forensics also specifically, I have dedicated my work towards social media forensics. So these branches in itself are also the umbrellas which have again these subdivisions and area of expertise. Okay, when we are talking about computer forensics, we are actually talking about a device, a digital device, which is not connected to a network. Or when we are talking about computer forensics, then we are talking about a device which has been used, or using which a crime has happened, but there was no involvement of a network. Okay, there is no network, there is no internet, no exchange happened, no Bluetooth exchange happened. Simply say, for example, you had your system on your office table, and somebody knew the password, they logged into it, and they edited some file and saved it, and then without realizing you shared that particular file with others, and after that you came to know. So herein the crime doesn't happen It doesn't happen when you shared. It happened prior to that, and that is happening inside your system without any network or any other connection made. So that specificity is referred to as your computer forensics. Okay. Then comes your cyber forensics. So when we are talking about cyber forensics, we are dwelling into the domain of the cyber world. So when you are connected to a network, then if the crime is happening, then it is being called as cyber forensics. Herein we are talking about, I humbly request the participants to please mute themselves. Thank you so much. So when we are talking about cyber forensics, we are dwelling into the domain of the investigation or the crimes which are involving the usage of a network. This network can be intranet, it can be internet, or it can be a network established through the neighborhood using or a network established using the Bluetooth also, okay, or like Apple share you have nowadays, okay. So if a crime is happening with this sharing or with over a network, then it is specifically said to be in the domain of cyber forensics. Software forensics is again a subpart of cyber forensics only, wherein we are talking about the intricacies of code analysis, whether say like majority of you, or I believe all of you, are coders, and all of you know that each coder has its own style and manner of writing a particular code. They have their own signature in a particular code. That analysis is done by the domain of software forensics. It also involves the analysis of the codes which are adapted by hackers. It also involves the analysis of source codes, of the ransomware attacks and the malware attacks. Also, it involves the analysis of the plagiarism in the source codes if or when identified or claimed under IPR also. So sometimes you may find that the IT companies are fighting over the source code of one or the other algorithm that they have developed. Okay. And claiming that one company has copyrighted and the other is also using it and breaching that particular copyright. So IPR cases are also covered. Now, mobile forensics is a separate domain which is kept different from any other domain. Reason being of the difference in the operating systems of the devices. Okay, because the operating system of the device varies from the other digital devices, making the tools used for the analysis entirely different. And also the way the files, the manner, the way the files are being stored in an mobile device is different. And the investigative procedure of finding out the files also differentiate into the mobile forensic domain. So herein the there is an entire different domain of forensic digital forensics, which is now becoming, I should say, popular amongst the criminals and thus the investigators. Digital document forensics is also important considering what has been happening today. We are sharing the documents over the internet with the, we are scanning, we are writing, we are scanning, or majority of the documents are nowadays being prepared using the digitized world. So the analysis is also covered here. So if we are talking about the, if we talk about the world of cyber forensics, it is essential to speak about it because it is omnipresent. Okay, you don't carry a lot of stuff in your bathroom, okay, but you do carry your cell phones, and there is nothing more private or nothing more privacy than a bathroom. but your phone is going there. That is why digital technology is omnipresent. Okay. It's there in your kitchen, it's there in your washrooms, it's there in your bathing area. The moment you enter your house, you have got motion censored lights there. Okay, you are turning on your car AC using your cell phones, you are turning on your home AC using your cell phones. Your lights of your house are also to be controlled by smart digital remotes. Okay, so digital technology is everywhere around you. Even right now also we are connected using this digital technology. And something which is so readily available is also exploited by the criminals extremely quickly. And as the example we had discussed earlier, also the cyber crime happens within minutes. It doesn't take a lot of time for the cyber crime to happen. And with the rise of social media, the spread of cyber crime has enhanced a lot. Okay. Many of you sitting over there may know people who have been targeted by different financial frauds also. Some of them might have escaped it, but some of them might have fallen for it also. Okay. Now, when we talk about cyber crime doesn't happen a few years back. It happened in 1820, surprisingly. Okay, much before the computers, okay, much before the internet, much before the social media, OTP, and your Paytm and UPI came into existence in 1820. How this happened? The man named Joseph, he was working in a textile firm in the country of France, and therein the France introduced a machine for looming, the textile looming. Okay, so what he did was that because of the introduction of machine, the jobs were threatened. So he sabotaged that particular technology. Okay, so that this machines cannot be used. So when we look into the history, the first recorded crime scene for cyber world came into the year of 1820. It's not a new thing which is happening. Okay. Michael Anderson has been credited as the father of computer forensics. He was a special agent in Indian Revenue Services in US, and he uncovered one of the biggest financial frauds in the history of that time. This particular fraud that happened, it raised the issue regarding the banking system. It raised the issues regarding the rounding of the currencies in the account balances, and it led to the fact that your bank balances now reflect as 0.38, 0.98, 0.67. Okay, so okay, though that 0.98 you cannot use it, either you need to use 0.50 or point or 1 rupee. You cannot spend 0.98, but your balance will reflect it. Okay, it was Michael Anderson who was working in US and he uncovered a financial fraud there, and that led to this particular bank changing of the banking style. What happened in US was that a banking employee created an algorithm which directed the money from the accounts of the people, wherein the money was from 0 to 0.49. So what used to happen in the banking sector was, if your balance is from 1 to 0.1 to 0.49, it used to be rounded off to 0.50, and if it was 0.51 to 0.99, it was rounded out to 1. So what he used, and that rounding off was happening, so that money which was not there actually was being credited. So what he did was that the money which used to become zero, that is from point 1 to point 49, he created dummy accounts of sites, and that amount which ideally should be zero, that money was transferred into those dummy accounts. And this entire process is referred nowadays as salami attack, wherein from multiple accounts you take small amount of money which is negligible, and then these crime happens. So this was uncovered. Okay. Now, few characteristics I should say of cybercrime is that they are easy to commit. You can do a cybercrime just by sitting in your car also. Okay. You can do a cybercrime by sitting in one room set also. Okay. And you need not have to buy something from outside or some drugs, some weapon to commit a crime. Okay. And majority of the time it doesn't appear that the crime has actually happened until and unless the physical implications of it as being seen. When we are talking about the investigations, we are talking about number one, the identification of the root cause. Not just that how it happened, but why it happened. Okay, then who is responsible? But the sad reality of the cyber forensics cases or digital forensic cases is that many of the cases were left not prosecuted, unfortunately. Okay. But nowadays, with the changes in the criminal laws, we are hoping that these numbers will change very soon. I'm going to skip this particular slide. I want to discuss this one. Okay. So, when we are talking about the digital forensics investigation cycle, basically, this particular investigation is referred to as a cycle, reason being that whenever we are investigating a particular case, we are actually being getting ready for any such similar cases if they happen. And also we are able to inform such stakeholders that see, it happened with Mr. A, it may happen with you also, so these are the countermeasures that you are supposed to take. So this is a cycle. It is not a one way street that a crime happened, you investigated, the person was prosecuted, judgment was given, that's it. But no, it becomes a cycle. So whenever there is an incident which is happening, which is related to digital forensics, the steps involves are data collection, examination, analysis, and the reporting. Once these reports are being released and showcased, these reports are then being taken care by the incidents response teams or IRTs, wherein they act as the white hat criminals. Unfortunately, the word now has lost its meaning, but they are then used by the IRT teams, who then prepare an SOPs which can be shared with the other stakeholders also, so that they can be protected from these vicious attacks in the future. The stages of the forensic investigation are broken down as that you identify the crime and the place. So it is not that somebody said that he I very common crime which is happening is that somebody took money from your account. Okay, somebody called you and then you lost your account. So but what actually happened or which type of crime it was needed to be identified. Like I just told you that the minimal amount of money, when it is being taken from multiple account, it is referred to as salami attack. So then there are other different cybercrime attacks also which are associated with it. Okay, where it took place is also essential to identify. Then we have to do what we refer to as building the chain of custody. Okay. Many of you must be watching a lot of OTT nowadays, which is showing a lot of movies also, and therein a lot has been discussed about chain of custody. So when we are talking about chain of custody, the classic example that comes to my mind is the Jessica Lal murder case. Jessica Lal murder case, and when she was shot, the cartridge cases that were taken from the scene of crime, one of the labs claimed that the cartridge cases matches the weapon, whereas other lab claimed that it doesn't match the weapon. Okay. So what happened was that once when the cartridge cases were being transferred from the lab A to lab B, in that transport the cartridge cases were changed, hence the negative report came. And this is what we refer to as the breach of chain of custody. So when we are talking about the investigative processes, the chain of custody needs to be maintained. Since majority of you are coming from the academia background, so giving you an example from there to understand. So for example, whenever we are having our examinations going on, so the faculty prepares the question paper, then that question paper sealed is being shared with the examination team. Examination team again then share the sealed envelope to the printing team, which then creates multiple copies, and then that particular bundle is sealed again, and then it is being given to the invigilator on the day of the examination. So the chain of custody is maintained, and everybody who has touched that envelope signs on that envelope. Okay, so this is referred to as chain of custody, that to whom the evidence was passed down, at what time, and how much time that person had that particular evidence with himself or herself. So this chain of custody needs to be maintained specifically when investigation of criminal cases is considered. Once we acquire these evidences, then we perform the analysis. But before analysis, we duplicate and make the image of the particular evidence. See, in any other forensic branch, we work on the actual evidence. But in case of digital forensics, we work on the image of the evidence. So we prepare a digital image of the evidence, and then the entire analysis happens on the image. The original evidence is secured and kept in the secure location, stored in a secure location, until and unless that something we want, which is which we find that can only be retrieved from the original evidence, we do not work on original evidences. And the reasons for that is that the evidence that we are working, the digital evidence, it is extremely fragile. Okay, it can be easily tampered with. Okay, it can be easily lost, it can be easily deleted. Okay, sometimes you may have also gone through this. I've just gone through a couple of minutes back. I was making a document, and unfortunately I got a call, and then I started closing all of the tabs and something, and the auto save was didn't save that particular document also, and the entire document was gone. Okay? And that much fragile the digital evidence is. So that is why we don't work on the original. Once we analyze, we present our findings to the member of the court. Coming to a digital scene of crime, a digital scene of crime is basically the electronic environment where digital evidence can exist. Okay. And when we are talking about digital evidence, we are actually talking about the digital data which can establish the link between the crime, the victim, and the perpetrator. The digital crime scene can be primary, secondary. Majority of the times it is both. Primary means from where the crime originated, and secondary means the second location where it was, from where it was spread. So, repeating again the forensic principles that I've just said, the evidence is volatile, it can be contaminated, the chain of custody is crucial. When we are talking about the principles of cyber forensics, we are talking about the steps in which any cyber forensic or digital forensic expert should keep in mind every time they are moving towards one or the other investigative technique. The characteristics involved are identifying, preserving, analyzing, and presenting. These four words have been frequently used by me earlier also. So, going into the details of it, when we talk about an evidence should be admissible. It cannot be hypothetical. Okay? It must be authentic. It should be complete. You cannot show half a revolver or half a knife in the court of law. It should be reliable and believable. We should be able to convince the, the members of the court that this evidence that we are presenting to you is actually there. The digital evidence, when we are talking about, it is characterized as the persistent data, meaning the non-volatile data which is stored, available to you even if the device is not on. Okay. When we are talking about volatile data, this is the data which is lost when the computer or the system is turned off. So this is basically the RAM and the ROM. Now, when we are talking about the evidence location, see, for every crime scene, the location of the evidences is also important. For example, if you want to look for a fingerprint evidence in your room surrounding to you right now, it is available on the doorknobs, it is available on the tabletop, it is available on your computer keyboard and touchpad, the lights, okay, and any other showpiece which is kept in front of you right now. So, in similar way, when we are talking about the digital crime scene location, the evidences to be searched can be found on a particular device in various locations. For example, the history files, the Slack spaces, the temporary files, the chat room records, okay, posts, folders, storage dates, the softwares, hardwares added, any other file sharing softwares that might have been added, emails are there. These are to list a few. Okay. And when we are talking about the tools and techniques, so we are basically exploiting the persistent and the volatile data by using the toolkits which are available to us. And these toolkits not only help us in seizing and collecting of these data, but it also help us in decrypting them, performing the auditing, performing tracking, recovery also. If you have deleted it, then also the recovery can be done. Okay. Oh, some of the very common tools that are used are your FTK, NCase, iLook, Xways, the Drive Spy. So these are very common. Out of which FTK is a free tool. It's an OSINT tool which is available online also. Encase is also available, but some of its feature are free and some of its features are paid. So it has got both licensed and unlicensed versions of it. Okay. And the techniques that we use are cross drive analysis, digital file analysis, the live analysis. So as I said, the incident response teams are there. Sometimes we come across live cyber attacks, and those live cyber attacks are to be analyzed in the real time. Or there are certain specific attacks. I mean, my predecessor, the speaker just before me, was actually talking about some of them, and he might be sharing a few more tomorrow also. So live analysis, real time analysis also happens in cyber forensics. The steps that are involved includes acquisition. Okay. So I'm sorry, I'm supposed to, yeah. It involves acquisition, identification, evaluation, presentation. Okay. For any cyber forensic expert, these few words are essential to be learned: secure, identification, examination, presentation, application. Securing the data, identifying the suspected data, examining it, having the skill to present it into the court of law, and then providing the application part to the law enforcement agencies for any such future references. So acquire, authenticate, analyze. Oh, you must have heard in many of the OTT and movies also, they refer to this uh, line which is referred to as bag and tag the evidences. Now, when what we call as bag and tag the evidences is basically putting the digital evidence in a special bag which is referred to as Faraday's bag. This Faraday's bag blocks the radio frequency signals, helping the investigators and the experts to avoid to make the evidence tamper proof. Okay, so that whenever this particular any particular device that you have seized doesn't get connected accidentally to any network. So that is why these special bags are being used, which are referred to as Faraday's bag. When we talk about identification, that means that identification of the device. Okay, then what we call it as devices, some of them are your traditional devices, your laptop, cell phones, USB drives. But sometimes you find a non-traditional devices also. If you will see here, this is a USB drive. This is a USB drive. Okay. These are not your traditional ways in which a USB drive looks like. Okay. Identification not only involves identification of the devices, but also the sources. Okay, some manuals, some printouts are there, or even some warranty guarantee cards are available. Okay, so all these are also to be identified. Collection. Okay, now the collection here in the world of digital forensics is referred to as seizing. So when we are seizing a system, that particular system can be live or it can be static. Live means it's on, okay, or it might not be on. Okay, so how do we collect such systems? Okay, it can be like this. So if we are here, if we reach this scene of crime and you collect one system, it's connected CPU, the keyboard, your laptop is here, some drives are there, there's a BlackBerry here, and you collect all this. But you forgot to collect the printer, You forgot to collect these CDs, okay, or whatever is kept here. You didn't check this bag, okay. There is here another two digital devices are there. Here is another digital device. Here is another digital device. Here is another digital device. So if you don't take all these devices with you, and you are only taking selected few which you are able to see and which appear to be traditional digital devices, okay, so then you are at loss because you didn't collected everything. These papers, these stack of papers are also needed to be collected. Okay. Documentation. Documentation is an essential part of the seizure of evidences. Reason being, as this is a live system, there are certain sticky notes attached to it. Sometimes, yes, even till date, people attach passwords, they write it and they keep it somewhere. Okay, so that is why it is essential to look around. Live system, the on the screen, whatever is happening, it needed to be photographed. Along with that, when you are collecting the wires, okay, these connections, this point is also needed to be photographed. The back of the CPU is also needed to be photographed to ensure which wire was connected where, like this. These photographs involves all the connections that are being done into the digital devices, and it is essential to capture these images also. After that, we make the imaging. The tool that I spoke to you about earlier, which is referred to as FTK, is one of the primary tools that are being used to make or to collect to make the copies or images of the device that we are working on. And no, generally uh, it is being preferred that you make two copies, so that if during the investigation one copy is damaged or tempered or hampered with some other way or the other, you still have one more copy to work with, and you need not have to go and get the original one and make the copy again. Yeah. I'm going to skip this. So, when we are doing the imaging, another important word that we all need to know is called as write blockers. Okay. Write blockers are of two types. There are softwares and hardwares. Okay, and they are essential to be used because they not only stop any harmful code or any malicious virus or worm or an attack to breach into your investigative network, but it also helps in ensuring the integrity of the system in which you are on which you are working on. So write blockers are basically the traffic cops which ensure that nothing goes into your network from the suspected device. Okay, and these write blockers are essential to be used in each and every case, irrespective whether you are simply working with a pen drive, also a USB drive you are working with. So you might say that, okay, what is the problem? But yes, there is a problem. So even if you are working with a USB drive only, still you have to use a write blocker. We have already talked about copy, so I'm going to skip because the time is running. Okay. Another important thing that you have to understand is that when we are talking about the chain of custody, the hash value serve as the authenticator and one thing that ensures the integrity of your evidence. So hash value, majority of you already know that it is basically a mathematical algorithm. It can be 128 bit, it can be 512 bits, okay? And this hash value is determined again using the softwares which are available to us, FTK, NKs, majority of the whether it is magnet, oxygen, okay, majority of the forensic tools which are available for digital forensics, they offer you the hash value calculations also. So you need not have to use multiple tools for hash value. One tool that you are using can serve the purpose. In India, the hash values which are acceptable are MD5 and SHA for 256. Legally, only one hash value is enough, but uh, again, since considering the digital fragility of the evidences, the two hash values are being, I should say, calculated by the experts. Okay, the examination process involves not only the examination of the data that has been recovered, but also of the hash value that is being calculated. So at each and every step of investigation of the cybercrime or the analysis of the digital evidence is happening, hash values are calculated at every step, at the beginning, in and at the end, to ensure that the integrity of the evidence is maintained and nothing has changed. Whatever uh, analysis you have done has not affected the evidence, it hasn't tempered the evidence. When we are talking about examination, we are looking into the graphics, we are looking into any hacking tools which are available, we look into the spreadsheets, index, slack spaces, okay, anything, any place you can think of in a device is used. So how do we obtain a hash value? Okay, this CRC is also there, MD5 is called as message digest 5, that is also there. Okay, you have got secure hash algorithm version 1. Okay, since all of you are coming from the I'm hoping from the digital backgrounds, I'm not going to be going into the details. Okay, I'm going to show you how do we do this. This is basically your FTK imager, a screen grab from an FTK imager. So when you are putting into your file, you're putting in FTK imager, you will find that the name of the drive that you are working with, the MD5 hash value, SH1 or SH5 hash value, whichever you have selected, you will find that. Okay, so this is another screen grab. Okay, this is called as the refine case. This is the screen that you see, showing you how FTK works. This is a screen that you see. Herein, you can select or check which all analysis you want to do, whether you want to work with the deleted data or the not deleted data, or you want to work with encrypted one, whether the email status, which file criteria you want to, or which type of file or the extension you want to work with, okay, recover, what from where do you want to identify it, everything can be selected. Okay, then you have to type in whatever the case details. Okay, you have to browse in the location, you give it a name, the case number, any comment you want to type in. Okay, this is the addition of the evidences into the system. So when you click on add evidence, you have to define everything, and then it will be added here. So your different evidences can be seen in this particular screen once you have added them. Okay, what case settings you want to do, what all you want to work with, what data do you want, how do you want, what you want to see, everything you can click here, select it, and then perform. Okay, it also showcases how many evidence files are there. Once you click on finish, the files processing will start. Okay, and it will give you the image file of this. And this analysis when you are doing, then it will open up all the deleted files or whatever files it has located. You select whatever files you need and you extract them, or if you want, you can extract the entire data also. Okay, so that extraction will be done in the form of an image, and this image which is generated using an FTK can then be read by NCase software, and further analysis can be done. Okay, now another topic that involved was the case studies. Okay, so I had included the case studies in the middle. So when we are talking about case studies, I want to draw your attention from the popular cases of India and abroad. Some cases you might have heard, some you might not have. So this is the famous Noida double homicide case, Arushi Talwar and Hemraj. Okay, so some of you might say that or think that this is a murder case. What does digital records have to do with this particular case? But if you read the case file, it talks about the alibis of different people who are there. Okay, so how many times the internet was turned on and off? Okay, what were the call records, what were the messaging records, what was the computer activities? Okay, so all this was investigated in this particular case for not only Arushi but Hemraj also, and along with the parents, the Talwar parents, the members of the clinic of Mr. Talwar. Okay, and so that their positions when the crime happened, their locations can be tracked and the scene can be recreated, also to identify the reason behind the particular crime. This call records and computer activities were identified in this particular case. The 26/11 Mumbai attack. Okay, unfortunately, this terrorist attack, when happened, the digital evidences that was secured included not just the computers, the cell phones, but also the satellite phones. Okay, it was when the attack was happening, it was suspected that the terrorists who were involved in the particular case were in real time communication with their handlers. So how this digital communication was happening, or how this telecommunication was happening, was to be tracked upon, and this was tracked using the digital evidences that were collected later on with the help of logs also. And herein the GPS data sh- uh, reflected upon their route, it also helped in identifying the origin of this particular attack. The BTK killer. Okay, BTK killer is a serial killer who happened to be in USA, and when his identity was to be discovered, okay, he was to be known, then it was found that the metadata of the church computers were analyzed, and from there, from the MS Word file the details of the BTK killer's identity were relieved. And if you will see here, this much time, see the time, 30 years. It took 30 years to actually identify BTK killer and then arrest him. And the role that played was a floppy disk metadata analysis. And where the identity was in the MS Word file, a Microsoft Office Word file. Okay. Then the San Bernardino's iPhone case. Okay. This is another iconic case. Okay. Which is something that is reflecting upon the accountability of the service providers. Okay. In this particular case, FBI requested iPhone, that is Apple industry, to unlock the encrypted phone, because if you do multiple attempts, okay, then there are inbuilt features in the iPhone that uh, that the entire phone will reset. Multiple unsuccessful attempts, if you will do, the phone will reset and the entire memory will be gone. Okay, so in this particular case, FBI specifically asked the Apple company to please allow them for a backdoor entry to proceed with their investigation, to which Apple straightforward refused that it is not in our company policy. We cannot do it. Okay. Then FBI used a loop in the uh, operating system of iOS for unlocking the encrypted phone. But the highlight of this particular case was that Apple refused. He said no. And similar instances has happened in our country also, wherein these internet service providers, the device providers has refused. And this particular cycle led to the IT amendment bill in 2019. If you recall, in 2019 there was a spread of, I should say, news that WhatsApp will stop working. And then what WhatsApp did was, it asked you to click on its policy to I agree, a refined policy. And if you won't click on it, your WhatsApp account will, you will not be able to use WhatsApp any longer. That happened in 2019 and early 2020 also, because of the amendment in the IT bill which was done in that particular year, which said specifically that if you want to cater Indian population, you have to have certain set of rules. You have to allow, if government demands and the case is of national security, or if it is a criminal matter, then access is to be provided. That led to all these changes. The Silk Road investigation that happened, it was all about dark web. Dark web, the usage of Tor browsers and bitcoins. This particular investigation involved the real time analysis of the laptops which were on the network, dark web network at that point of time, using the memory forensics. It also involved the blockchain tracing of the Bitcoin transaction, and Mr. Ross was sentenced for life imprisonment in this particular case. The pipeline ransomware attack of 2021, which happened, it led to a ransom payment of 4.4 million US dollars. Some of it was recovered by FBI, some of it is still not being recovered. The target was done on the pipeline in US, which was affecting the fuel, fuel supply into the east coast of USA. And this attack happened how? By gaining access using a VPN password. Okay. So small loopholes, a minute loophole can lead to attacks when it comes to the cyber world. Another one was some of the uh, accounts of some famous personalities were hacked, and the attack was, or the hacking was done using spear phishing, and the person who was doing it, or the people involved, were teenagers. The way they do it is referred to as spear phishing, and it was done by teenagers. And how they do it? They perform the spear phishing on the Twitter employees, not onto the accounts itself, but onto the employees of Twitter, from where they gain access to the mainframe, and then the hacking happened. Okay, so this is basically the internal attack which was happening. Okay. The WannaCry ransomware, it was extremely popular in 2017. A lot of hospitals were hit for that. It covered lots and lots of countries all around the world, including United Kingdom, European nations, and USA also. Okay, so WannaCry software was actually using uh, using the digital access of the medicine dispensary in the hospital systems. So when you are doing medicines, so that particular medicine dispensary system access is provided to pharmacies outside also, and from there the WannaCry ransomware started exploiting it. ISIS has been rapidly using the social media in the world of cyber terrorism. The applications such as Telegram and Signal are fortunately are being widely used for these purposes. So, and our famous OTP, UPI bank frauds, okay, which are happening every day. So somebody may call you as bank official, somebody calls you as for your KYC, somebody calls you for your parcels to be delivered, okay, and they are using the app sharing or screen sharing to gain access for your OTPs and your passwords, and ultimately the crime is resulting there. Just give me a minute, please. So I'm back. Yes. Oh, another attack that happened was on Sony Pictures. Sony Pictures, if you remember, they released a movie which is called as The Interview. It's a Hollywood movie. Yeah. In this particular movie, if I am correct, Bradley Cooper goes to North Korea and he's a famous journalist, and then he interviews the North Korean uh, head of state, okay, who was to be the current head of state, an image of him, and which deeply hurted the North Korean people, and it led to an attack on Sony Pictures, which resulted into the uh, leak of their future projects, their email conversation regarding hiring of the actors, their payments, okay, the copyrights, scripts of unreleased uh, projects was also stolen and made public. Some of the servers were erased. Okay, so it's not just that the cyber attacks which are happening are giving you some sort of political gain only, but or some sort of financial gain only. Okay, but they are also sometimes resulting into the concept of revenge also. Okay. Now, coming to the cyber terrorism, which is one of the most important aspects of the digital forensics world when we are talking about it. Okay, so when we are talking about digital forensics, the word cyber terrorism or digital terrorism automatically pops into the mind. But herein, we are not talking about some physical attack which is happening, but we are talking about the attacks that are happening in the cyber world, in the digital world. Okay. The most common aspect of it is referred to as the online radicalization. Okay, unfortunately, the younger generations, the younger members of different countries, the youth that we are talking about, are being exploited by the processes of online radicalization, which is happening with the help of fake news, fake propagandas, and social media. Along with that, the cyber attacks are also being propagated using these digital platforms. The When we talk about online radicalization, we are actually talking about not just the process of influencing others to join for the cause, but it also involves the recruitment of the such misguided members of the society. Okay, it is resulting into that these people who has been misguided are later on recruited as full-time terrorists, and then they are trained into the camps, and it is resulting into a huge rise of what has been now credited as domestic terrorism also. Okay. Online radicalization happens in stages. First, it is the exposure. The people who are there uh, are who are deployed for this particular thing are trained social media experts. They are trained psychologists. They know how to do social engineering. Okay, they use and exploit the algorithms of social media, how to uh, make their post viral. They exploit this. Okay, and they not only just share their own agenda, but they also troll. They threaten people. It has been observed in the when the US Marines were deployed in Afghanistan and Iraq, in Afghanistan basically, and then it was observed that the family members of those deployed Marines were receiving threat messages on Facebook when they used to post something like that, some pray that please pray for my family member, or good wishes or well wishes they were requesting. They were being they were being threatened, and they received messages on social media platforms, specifically Facebook at that point of time, to psychologically gain power over the families of those soldiers who were fighting over there. And these similar trends were later on observed in the by the members of our Indian Army and Indian Air Force also, and other members of our armed forces, their family members were also being given these kind of messages. So it involves exposure. So once exposure is being done, then engagement happens. Now how this engagement is happening? In this engagement, these people who has been sending text messages, they create chat groups, they interact with people of who slow slightest interest into their messages. So they interact with them, and slowly they find out who are the more susceptible one to the uh, for their particular exploiting act. And then the mentors are being assigned to such people who do face to face chatting with them, and that chatting and messaging goes beyond, then they meet, and ultimately the recruitment process is completed. Okay, as I said, they use the psychological tactics of us versus them. Mobilization is also happening using cyber world. Not just the mobilization of weapons, but also the mobilization of planning of the attacks, the money, the financial planning is also being done here. Okay. The platform used, those platforms which you are also using, you use Facebook, you use Twitter, you use WhatsApp, some of you use Telegram, YouTube you are using. Okay, the kids at your home are playing multiplayer online video games also. Okay, they all are being used for these purposes. Okay. How do we investigate this? So when it comes to investigation, the keyword analysis is being done specifically for social media. I will be sharing with you that in the coming slides. Okay, we identify those specific keywords, and those keywords and hashtags are monitored on the social media. The profiles are identified. Okay, and then those profiles are tracked and traced. This is something that I have already shared with you. Okay, just a very basic example. Okay, this photograph was viral way back into the elections last term of our prime minister. Okay, when we did the reverse image analysis of this particular photograph, it was found that this photograph belongs to a town in China. Recently, this particular post was viral. When the analysis was conducted, it was found that this particular photograph was posted in the year of 2025 by a blog journalist, where he said that this boy was being punished by the aunt of this boy for stealing the candy. But it was posted, liked, reshared by thousands of people. As I was talking about the online radicalization, we find on social medias the posts, the handles, the profiles of terrorists. This is basically an advertisement by ask.fm, wherein you can talk to ISIS member live. Okay. The advertisement states that when you get trained, you will get a vest, a grenade, an AK 47, along with 4 magazines for that particular AK-47. So this is an advertisement which is being propagated on ask.fm. This is a course which is available. Okay. Sorry, this is a course which is available, which is referred to as an art of recruiting. It's an ISIS manual which is available on internet. Advertisements that are being done by ISIS on social media. This is a book which is referred to as a Mujahid guide. It was published in the year of 2015. And please draw your attention towards the chapters if you can. Okay. It is talking about transporting of weapons, bomb making, okay, survival techniques, what happens if you get raided, how to evade. So it's a proper book and it is available on internet. So when we are talking about the identification, and I talked about the hashing of or identifying the social media, okay. So if you think that you know the social media, let me just introduce you to another fraction of social media. All these are some, or I should say, simply a fraction of social media platforms that are available all over the world. A fraction. And if you can identify 10 of them, that is something then. This is actually a map of different social media handles and their frequency of posting in the years from 2008 to 2020 all across the world. And you can see how the map of social media is changing. The coverage is increasing. Where it was in 2008 and where it ended in 2020. This is the January 2023 map wherein the it is highlighting the most popular social media platforms that are being used in this specific part of the world. Now, when we are talking about mapping, we are basically talking about identifying the posts and their frequencies. This is a platform that is provided by Snapchat where you can map the post and frequencies. The blue indicates less amount of posts, red indicates the highest amounts of the posts. So the moment you scroll on the red part or the blue part, it starts highlighting you the posts which are being posted from there. This is the Twitter map. What has been posted and how many posts are being done from one particular location, it can be mapped using this platform. This is your trend map. Okay, trend is another social media handle. It's an entity of Meta only. Okay, so trend map can also be highlighted, but on trend, what we are mapping is basically the hashtags. Another platform which is available is referred to as Hashit platform. Herein, you type in a hashtag which you want to search, and this particular platform then searches every other social media platform, the public posts, let me remind you, not the private ones, the public posts, and it map that particular hashtag to all those posts and it lists you, shares you the link of all the public posts which are available for the particular hashtag that you have searched. Apart from that, you can always access the cyberyodha.org website, where you will find multiple such aids which are available for you to help you in identifying the social media tools. Okay. Some of them I have listed. Some of these I will share with you also. Now, since I have time, I can dwell into the legal aspect also, because the previous my predecessor speaker also talks about the legality of the attacks and the presentation. And the word forensic is incomplete if we don't talk about the laws. Okay. So, when we are talking about the criminal laws, specifically the new criminal laws, they came into effect on after getting the signatures from our honorable president on December 25th of 2023, that led to the changing changes in our the criminal procedural processes of our country. The IPC became Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. The evidence code became Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam. The Criminal Procedural Code became Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita. Okay. And all these have affected a lot when we are talking about the digital prosecution of the cyber criminals. Okay. The most important one which is to be highlighted is that penalizing for false information. Earlier in IPC, it wasn't mentioned, but herein the section 111 specifically classifies cybercrime as organized crime, and the section 197D talks about the false information. So, your fake news and fake messages are now actually punishable by law under section 197D of the BNS. Here, the word document in IPC used to correspond to only the handwritten printed ones. It didn't cover the digital records. But now the digital records are also included in the Word document. So you need not have to go through the section 65B anymore. You need not have to sign the certificate anymore. Okay. You the documents, the digital records are included as evidences from now onwards. Okay. The searching of devices. Okay. Earlier, if you if a police officer suspects the device needs to be seized, he or she at that point of time in the warrant had to write that which device. If it is a Samsung phone, then which Samsung phone. Okay. The model was supposed to be identified. And some of the judges used to say the color also needs to be written. Color of the device. Now imagine for how much tedious it was for a police officer at that point of time. But now these devices can be searched with a probable cause. Okay. Or a reasonable ground. They can search your devices. Okay. So this bringing cybercrimes under the category of organized crime has also helped the investigators to take help from the multiple agencies. Okay. For example, when we are performing an investigation, like right now I am sitting in UP and you all are, and you are sitting in the different parts of the country, the organizing team is sitting in the in one part of the country. Now if I want to start an investigation and that reaches all of you in your own home states, okay, then individually we have to take permission from that particular state's police agency and the home ministry, so that the coalition or the joint investigation can happen. But now, because you have made it an organized crime, a lot of red tape can be are removed. Okay. As I said, section 111 is there, then 197D is also there, seizure is permissible. Okay. E platforms are now also covered under the criminal procedural code. Okay, they also come under here, included. The witness protection scheme, which was not there, is now provided under section 398. So if there is a whistleblower for a financial crime, SEBI crimes, under the SEBI regulation, if there is a whistleblower, in that particular case, section 398 provides witness protection. Electronic evidences. Earlier, we used to sign a certificate for electronic evidences. Now, lot of red tape is removed with the help of Section 63. The technological use of forensic sciences under the clauses 176 3, 349, 329, and 330 is ensuring the usage of forensic sciences in the domain of investigation purposes. Okay. What are they saying is that earlier only we have specific agencies who were allowed for giving reports, giving the opinions in the court of law, but now the domain has been expanded. More and more industries are included for giving expertized opinion in the court of law, resulting into the usage of scientific technology for the purposes of investigation and expanding the scope of forensics expert. Okay. Under section 176, subsection 3, the term forensic has expanded and it is including the word private forensic experts also. Earlier, only the government forensic experts were allowed to give opinion in the criminal court, and others, the private ones, were allowed for the civil court. But now, since it has been included in one of the sections, so it has enhanced the scope. Earlier, as I said, if you want to have an evidence, a digital device to be seized, everything was to be written in the warrant. But now, with the help of the new law, if the IO, investigating officers, sees fit that the one device which is available for the warrant is to be seized, but the particular device is having certain new devices connected to it, or there are surrounding devices which might also be the property of the suspect, those devices can also be now seized. So, this is expanding the analysis. Okay. I'm going to skip a few sections because they are beyond that. But coming to last few slides, I hope I'm well within my time. Yes. So there are certain challenges that we are experiencing in digital forensics, as there is lot of encryption which is happening. Some strong encryptions are happening, which takes a lot of time to be decrypted, and sometimes some of the encryptions are hard to break also. The data that are recovered, they are not like 16 GB or 32 GB. They are in terabyte, they're in TBs, and to comb through that entire data takes time. Okay. Then comes, earlier it was just the hardware storage devices that we used to be worry about, but now we are having the cloud storage spaces available to us. And cloud jurisdiction is entirely an international matter, because the servers are at international places. Okay. Then we have the anti-forensic tools, okay, the wiping. Okay. Then your steganography is there, digital imprinting is coming up rapidly nowadays. Okay. And every day the technology is changing, and with the change in technology, the criminals modus operandi are changing. And these are the real time challenges that a digital forensic expert personally also we have been facing. Okay. To conclude, okay, the cybercrime world or the forensic world requires expertise. It is rising. The major problem is that we have the evolution of the world. In the world is evolving at a slower pace, but the digital world is evolving at a higher pace and much higher pace. The spread of social media has added an additional barrier for the investigators, because it leads to a lot of fake news, fake agendas being propagated. We are having multiple scene of crimes because of these reasons, and multiple devices at different locations also pose a hurdle for the investigators. Okay. So, with this, I thank you all for patiently listening to me. And I hope I was able to generate your interest in the profession that I am coming from. And if you have any question, you can easily reach me either through email or my contact number. I would be happy to answer you. Okay. And with this, I am available to answer any questions if we have. I will be happy to answer.
I would request the participants to clarify your doubts. If you have any questions or request, kindly forward to our expert, Inni Sharma. Make use of this time, please.
Yeah, if you if it is not related to the topic, if it dwells into the world of forensic sciences, I will be happy to answer you.
From your words, it is identified that it's a very challenging world, and from as the size of data and storage are increasing, we are going to cloud storage. This evidence collection and analysis is a very difficult task. And have you any how we can start a career in forensic, and which are the best universities or institutions we are to start, or some courses that we must start?
Okay, thank you for asking this question, ma'am. See, giving my own example, I started off with my career in forensic sciences when I was in my undergraduate studies in Delhi University. One of my papers was of forensic sciences. I am a graduate in applied life sciences, and I just studied one paper in my undergraduate of forensics, and which led to my interest, and I joined masters in forensic sciences from Ministry of Home Affairs. And this is, I am talking about long back. But nowadays there are a lot of universities including mine which are available and offering courses in forensic sciences at undergraduate, postgraduate, doctorate, and certificate courses and diploma courses is also there. See, when we are talking about the developing a career in forensic sciences, it is all about how your presence of mind and common sense works. Okay, one of my mentors, who was actually a director for CBI Lab of Forensic Sciences for 40 years, he was the youngest director in the history of CBI Forensics. And for him, when he used to take sessions of us, he used to define forensic sciences as the skill of presence of mind and common sense. So anybody who have an intellect or who has a interest towards the intricate analysis for any act will become a good forensic expert. To attain the training for the particular branch or scope, uh, is that if, say, for example, somebody is coming from the computer science background, you can expertise in any of the subfields of digital forensics, either by taking training from EC Council, or by taking courses that are being offered by many universities in our country, including National Forensic Science University, Galgotia's University is there. Then you have Banaras Hindu University is also offering. Delhi University has also come up with a good forensic program. Okay, but yes, the cyber courses are offered by some, not all. At Galgotias, we are offering specializations in this. Same specialization is also offered by the uh, Government Institute of Forensic Sciences, Mumbai, and Nagpur. Okay, so when we are the training and the skill enhancement is to be done. Um, there are different private forensic labs also which are offering, like one of them is there in Delhi, which is SIFS India. One is Clue for Forensics. It's there in the in Bangalore itself. Therein also you can take training. Yeah. And once your skills are enhanced, you are able to work in this particular field with training and experience. So I hope I was able to answer your question now.
Yes, madam. You completely answer and give the full picture of India where we can find best institutions.
Ma'am, can you please say about some research areas in this cyber forensics? I'm asking this because our PG students, they are doing some work with the volatility tool and RAM memory analysis, hibernation file analysis and RAM memory analysis. But they are simply using the tool on some file, on some memory, dumb memory. Other than that, can we input any research dimension in that?
Uh, Ma'am, can you please give me a minute? I've just received a call from my registrar. Let me just answer him. Just give me a minute, please.
Okay, ma'am. Okay,
I'll
ma'am.
answer your question. Just 1 minute.
Okay, sure.
I'm so sorry. So yeah, so, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry. So to answer your question, ma'am, as I've just highlighted that the when we are using those tools, okay, one of the work that your students can do is to develop their own tools. All these tools that we are using right now are the tools which we are buying from foreign agencies. Okay, we are buying it from foreign companies. There is no Indian tool which is available as of now. Okay, uh, last year, me and my students have also developed such tools. Okay, and we have presented it to the uh, police agencies, forensic agencies, and they are doing beta testing with these tools. So such tools can also be developed by your students for purposes. Your students can always work on the anti-forensic technologies which are available. Anti-forensic technologies are basically those technologies which are helping the criminals to evade our current forensic investigation processes. So they can work on those anti-forensic techniques. They can always work on cloud investigations, which is very new. And if you want, I will definitely be able to connect you with people. I will be also available for help if needed. Okay. And the social media forensics is also a very big field which can be explored, specifically when it comes to private accounts. Public accounts, definitely there are many tools which can be done, many investigations can be done on public accounts, but for private, the concept is still limited, so they can explore that also.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for the information.
Thank you.
Dr. Vini Sharma. On behalf
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
participants and award from the Government General College Wayanad, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for your effort. Even though you are after a very busy schedule, you spend time for us and you explained everything very well and you make it a high impact on the topic and its relevance and its challenges in our mind. Thank you for your effort, and we are wishing a very good future, and we should be able to meet again in some venues. Thank
Yes,
you. Thank you so much.
definitely, ma'am. Thank you so much for inviting, and I am going to be looking forward to meet you and the members of your organizing team. It has been a very pleasant experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
To all participants, we can meet tomorrow, and yes, have a good night. Have a good stay. Thank you all. Even though we extended our time. Thank you, madam. I will contact you through Yadvi, sir. Good night. Take
Surely,
rest.
surely.
Okay.
I have also shared my details in
Oh,
the
no,
chat box,
okay.
ma'am. You can take
Okay.
it from there. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Ma'am, good night.
Participants can copy that message from the chat box where contact details are given. Shall we close the meeting, madam? Tanya, madam?
Yes, ma'am. We will stop the recording first.